hate when that happens, but let's talk about it, man. Mario Barrios wins unanimous decision over Yordenis Ugas to win the WBC Interim at 147. I know that everybody always gets really excited about these interim belts and things like that, but let's keep it real. You're not the champion, okay? You're just the first in line. You'll be able to have yourself a championship fight. You know what I mean? You'll be able to, activate the mandatories to fight whoever the champion is. But that does mean possibly a Mario Barrios Terrence Crawford fight for 2024, which would be very welcome by me at least, because I feel like, in a fight like that, I know a lot of people probably won't give Barrios a chance, but Barrios should have a live chance at that because he's the younger fighter. And, nobody really can say is Terrence Crawford regressing. And sometimes when you give your best performance ever, you may not ever have a performance like that ever again. So there's a lot of questions that could be answered, and there's a lot of things that could be play into that fight. And I think it would be a very marketable fight. But let's talk about this one right here. We can get to the future when it's time to get there. Barrios was absolutely amazing in this fight. But I would say this: Yordenis Ugas is about two steps behind from what he was about 4 years ago when I saw him live in Carson at the old StubHub Center, which is now Dignity Health Park. I saw him fight in the main event versus Sean Porter for the WBC 147 title. And I truly felt that Ugas won that fight 116-112. And he was a masterclass that night. The Cuban style was on deck. It was beautiful to watch. And then he was able to dominate some guys right after that controversial loss and everything like that. And he was able to dominate some guys. And he dominated Omar Figueroa. And he was able to get himself the WBA title in full, all that good stuff. He worked himself to the level that he wanted to be on. And he found himself in the biggest fight of his career against Errol Spence. And people did give Ugas somewhat of a chance to be a good technical boxer. And Ugas has it on his resume that he beat Terrence Crawford when they were in the amateurs as well, too. So there's a lot of things that Ugas has him in an upper echelon in the boxing community. Maybe not in the fan community of boxing, but in the boxing community, he's very respected. Let's keep it real. And Ugas, after that fight with Spence, never seemed to be the same person, in my opinion. I felt like he had been well paid, but he was very, you know, adamant about showing us his warrior spirit that he had got his eye broken. And that's all good and well, but after a while it gets tired. And I felt like he kept trying to remind us of that, what he did in the ring and all that stuff, but not getting over it. You know what I mean? A lot of people had a lot to say. A lot of people had a lot of jokes because he put the picture out right after the fact and all that good stuff. And it just was just a weird situation. You know what I mean? And I think that he spent a bit too much time on the internet, answering questions and having his feelings hurt by fans and things like that. And then you get into a fight like this, so then you can pay them bills because you can see life has changed for this guy. He's got the Rolls Royce with the moonlight inside the car, all that good stuff. All these things that he didn't have 5 years ago. And pretty much what's your motivation now? That's the biggest question. What's your motivation? Mario Barrios' motivation was is that he's been on pay-per-view the last three out of four fights, and really his last 4 out of 5 fights. And he knows that he's a talent. And a lot of people don't feel he's a talent because they don't really know that much about boxing, because they are only going to gravitate to who they tell them to gravitate to. Mario Barrios a few years ago was seen as the top up-and-coming fighter at 140. 140 is this hotbed division now. But when Mario was at 140 didn't matter. Nobody cared. And pretty much Mario goes off. He wins the WBA title. He had a life and death fight with the guy who's a very, very good fighter. And a lot of people walked away from Mario Barrios, not giving Mario the benefit of the doubt that he stood in there, he survived, and he knocked the guy down late in the fight as well, too. So Mario Barrios is a guy that you got to stop sleeping on. He's a really, really good boxer, and he showed that Saturday against Ugas, and he showed that he's a younger fighter who's still on the up and up and getting better as he's going along. And Ugas showed us that he's a declining boxer on his way out. Let's keep it real. Ugas will probably get a fight with Keith Thurman next. Let's just be honest. Or he'll get a fight with Boots next, because now he's a name for a resume, and that's how it works. But I would love to see possibly an opportunity of seeing Ugas possibly fight Crawford in a revenge type fight as well too. But I think Ugas, like I just said, is about done, and I think he's on gatekeeper status now. And I truly do feel he possibly will get 2 more big fights. And I think I just named them off with Thurman and Boots, because he looks really attractive this morning to those guys. You know what I mean? And that's what you got to look at as well too, how these boxers pick their opponents. And usually they try to pick the guy that just got beat. They don't want to get with the guy who just won. And I know Barrios and Thurman already fought, so you can't consider that situation. But if you're Mario Barrios' team, before we move off of this, you demand the mandatory with Terrence Crawford. Just give yourself a chance, because you'll be able to do another pay-per-view. It will be a pay-per-view with another noticeable name for Crawford as well, too. And you know what? Mario Barrios has the credibility on the street. He fought Tank, and he fought Tank pretty well until he got knocked out. And then he fought, he was pretty game against Keith Thurman. I was at the fight. And people can say what they want, but a lot of you guys just use your personal feelings. It was a good damn fight, and Mario Barrios did exactly what he was supposed to do. So what was your issue? He went in there and he gave Keith Thurman a tough fight. Keith Thurman is an exemplary fighter. It's that simple. And you guys just forgot that part. And he just because he's been gone so long and he's so mouthy. But at the end of the day, Keith Thurman's still a guy that will probably go into the Hall of Fame at the end of the day, because he's won belts and he did it in a convincing way. And Mario Barrios has 2 legitimate future Hall of Famers on his resume. A lot of people can't say that. And those are his 2 losses. So you're really trying to discredit nothing. He needs to get more credit. And I really do feel like activate your mandatory, see what you can do against Bud Crawford. I believe in all these guys, man. And I believe that if they know they can do it, let's try to see if they can do it. Let's dare to be great, unlike others. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But all in all, Mario Barrios, congratulations to you. Congratulations to the team. And I look forward to seeing you back in the ring as well, too. Your new WBC Interim welterweight champion of the world, Mario Barrios. All right.